Hey everybody, welcome back to Kpop Light, where we fangirl responsibly. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Lindsay. Welcome back to the number one podcast in the world.
In the entire world.
Kpop Light. We're booming. We're growing. We're taking over. And today, speaking of taking over, we're talking about K-pop CEOs who kind of rule the K-pop industry. Rachel and I have been very curious about the CEOs and the individuals that have started these, billion-dollar companies, and have wanted to do this episode since we started this podcast a few months ago. And today's the day. We're going to discuss the lives of a few of the biggest players in the K-pop industry. And I think we're going to learn a lot and maybe be enlightened on things we wish we never knew about the K-pop world.
Yeah, we just are doing the main four. So Lindsay has two and I have two. There are so many other K-pop companies out there, but I think these are the main ones that everybody has heard of and that kind of own the industry. So we're just curious about them. We were like, who are the people behind these companies? We had never heard anyone really talk about them besides kind of like the main ones, Hitman, Bang, and JYP, but you don't really know, fun facts about them. So
yeah, the stories behind it all.
Yeah, we're excited to discuss. I'm excited to learn because I don't know anything about YG, which is one of yours that you had. So I think we'll learn a lot. I have some tea on one of my guys, so
I cannot
it's going to be interesting.
It's going to get juicy. Going to get juicy in here.
Before we get going, did we want to talk about our reel that went viral?
Oh, yeah. We are viral girls. We're the number one podcast, and we're also the most popular Instagram account in the world. So if you're not following us, you need to go follow us. We did post a reel that kind of went wild. Rachel created a great video that was in reference to our last episode about supergroups. And specifically, this video was about our dream HYBE supergroup. So it listed all the members that we would love to see collaborate in a supergroup. Turns out people do not understand what a supergroup is and also don't like to read what we say or kind of just like have common sense. So we did get a lot of comments that were hate comments that really didn't make sense, but we boosted that engagement, girl. We have like 20K likes, okay? But that was, Rachel and I were just sending people's dumb comments back and forth, and I was very entertained. And we've said this before, our ethos is kindness, okay? We kill them with kindness. We respond politely, try to clarify things for people. We're not in the business of creating more hate because there's already too much.
Yeah, for a little background, we posted a reel that was highlighting different members from different HYBE groups and said, what if HYBE made a super group? And it cycled through photos of different members from some of our favorite groups. So it's just what we talked about on the podcast 2 weeks ago, who we would pick to be in this potential group. And everyone in the comments who are BTS fans was saying, we already have a HYBE supergroup and it's BTS. And they were getting real mad that we made this potential hypothetical supergroup and were kind of coming for us. So we were kind of texting back and forth being like, this is so silly that people get so mad and up in arms about just somebody making a funny video about like a potential hypothetical group. I'm like, can everybody calm down? And people just don't understand the concept of a supergroup. And we even commented it and like responding to people, and they were not having it. We were like, Google it. It means when a company takes members from existing groups and puts them in a new group.
Yeah.
It's not like taking them permanently away from their group. It's just like a side project.
We are not separating.
We're not
BTS.
breaking up BTS. Okay.
I think they also just didn't understand what supergroup meant, so they thought that we were saying that like BTS isn't the best group, which we never even said. And if we didn't think it was the best group, that is our opinion and is okay. Like, you don't have to force me to think that BTS is the greatest group of all time, even though I already do. Yeah. So I don't understand. They're like, BTS is the supergroup of HYBE. There is no need for them to work with anyone else. Okay. Cool. And what I wanted to say also, I was thinking about this. I love BTS, and nothing is going to deter me from loving BTS at this point. But this subset of BTS ARMY makes me not want to be a BTS fan. Like, they are so, pardon my language, insufferable.
I don't want to be associated with that.
No, they're so insufferable and so mean and horrible. And it makes me sad because they're not a representation of BTS and their vibes and ethos at all. They don't represent anything that the group represents. And if they're trying to be ambassadors for the group and help the group reach their goals and want to make them the biggest group ever and have the most fans ever and to tour globally and for the group to have success, they're doing a horrible job because they are so toxic and mean and critical to everyone and everything else. And no one's going to want to be a fan when you're that rude and so unwelcoming. Yeah. And I think this takes me back to when we actually were first starting to think about making this podcast. I remember being in our Airbnb in Itaewon, and I was like reading out loud crazy BTS comments on social media from ARMY or ARMYs, and us saying like, these people are unhinged. There has to be other people like us that love K-pop, have a friendly, positive attitude, love to connect with each other, love to joke and laugh and enjoy K-pop and make it so fun. There has to be other people like that would like what we have to say and like join us in our content and vibes. Yeah. And this video, I think, went viral to the point where like there's people that are not aligned with our mission and values. Like, no. That is just not what we're ever going to be, not what we want to associate with. That is not our vibes. And obviously that is a small portion of ARMY. I'm not saying all ARMY is like that, but as a whole, we have found ARMY to be the most intense and annoying and toxic fandom, but then they will blame that on everyone else.
Yeah. Like one of the comments was, no, we don't want to subject our BTS boys to the hatred of other fandoms if you put them together in this group. And we're like, whoa, no, ARMYs are by far like the craziest and meanest.
No, and you're hating on the other groups by even saying that.
Yeah.
Like,
which, all of that to say, we love ARMYs. We are ARMYs, we would say. But there's a subsect that is just doing too much, to be honest.
They're doing too much and they don't have logical common sense, and I can't fix that.
Yeah. Like, we believe K-pop should be fun. It's one of our hobbies that we love and think is so fun. We love having silly K-pop conversations, and it's just fun and lighthearted. And there are people who like would die on the hill that BTS cannot be associated in the same reel as other HYBE members because they are OT7 or die, you know?
Yeah. That's just, it's not where we're coming from. So just know that we are friendly, kind, positive gals, and we will never be commenting something crazy like that. And I will bet my life on that. Okay?
No. I know.
It just makes me sad because if these people are acting like holier than thou, if someone's a new ARMY, they're like, I've been here since blah, 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 blah. Or like, oh, you don't know this fact? You should know this. Or like if someone has a question, they're like, blah, 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 blah. I feel like we're like, we want everyone to know about K-pop. We want everyone to join in. It should be like such a fun and welcoming place. We find so much joy in it. We want others to find so much joy in it. We want to connect with people that know more than us and know less than us. That is like what is fun about it to me. And so to be so like, I'm always right, you're not good enough, you don't like the group I like, is just like such a weird attitude to have, in my opinion. It's sad.
Yeah, agree. Well, sorry for the tangent, but we just had to talk about that.
We really do. I know, and I don't want to keep bringing up like our social media controversies, but it really got me thinking on like the bigger topic of it all, and like that correlates with why we wanted to make the podcast, is just like the opposite of the vibes of like the crazy internet trolls. And I just want everyone to know about K-pop and like associate good feelings with it. And so it makes me sad when some fans just like don't
Take
put
it too
out
far.
the best image to the world. But anyways, go comment on that post and give us some love. Tell us who you want in your super group. We would love to see it. And I'm grateful for those 100 people that followed us from that video. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I know. Shout out Toxic Armies for boosting that engagement and
Yeah, we love to
getting
see
us
it.
those follows.
Okay, well, my tangent is done. I'm so sorry. Which CEO would you like to tell me in the audience about?
I'm going to start out with JYP of JYP Entertainment, aka Park Jin Young. His stage name is JY Park.
Many names for this man.
So many names. He's the only K-pop company founder of the main four that is still performing. I personally wanted to do JYP because I see video clips of him performing on my Instagram all the time, and they are so funny. I'm sorry.
You're speechless. You're speechless. I know. I feel like
speechless.
all I know about JYP is like the memes I see and like crazy videos of him performing and crazy videos of him preaching the gospel. So that's where I'm coming from with JYP. And it's a little chaotic from my POV.
No, he is a jack of all trades, if you will. He's doing a lot. He's still making music. He's still performing. He's still involved at JYP. He is a Christian now and does weekly Bible studies and preaching and uploads it to YouTube. And so, yeah, he's doing a lot. I was curious after looking into him about what his music sounds like, so I did give him a listen, and not my personal favorite, but I do think for sure. I think he is incredibly talented, as all of these guys probably are, just geniuses to be able to have made it to where they are. So nothing but respect for JYP, even though he is a meme and his performances, recently at least, have been questionable. We can post some to our Instagram. JYP has so many acts that we know and love. Some of these acts aren't with JYP anymore, but at one point they were, and maybe since have left. But they have had GOT7, Twice, Stray Kids, Wonder Girls, Rain, 2PM, Miss A, Day 6, ITZY, Extraordinary Heroes, NMIXX, and then some international groups as well. There's Boy Story, Nizi U, and NextZ. So lots of different groups.
They also had Icon.
True. That's
Our
not on the
kings.
list, unfortunately, that I found.
Wait, how did they not make the list? Our kings.
Our
Excuse me?
kings.
Literally.
Yeah, we love Icon. Yeah, Icon was with JYP and have since left, but we love them. But he founded JYP in 1997, but just to back up a little bit, he spent some time in the U.S. when he was a little kid. He moved there when he was 9, and then he lived there for 3 years, which helped him to become fluent in English. And then he did music in university, and he originally debuted in a group with 2 other guys called Park Jin Young and the NG, which stands for New Generation, which was not a success.
Oh.
He did, though, debut after this as a solo artist in 1994 and started to get some momentum there. He graduated from university in 1996 with a degree in geology. So, man knows his rocks. During this time period, when he was in university making music, he met Hitman Bang, aka Bang Si-hyuk of HYBE. And they kind of became a songwriting duo and worked a lot together, composed, produced, did a lot of music, and would continue to. To this day, they're friends and work together a lot. He was married and then got divorced to somebody who, like, you can find her name on the internet. I don't know who she is. But then he got married again in 2013, but it literally just says unknown. And for some reason, the only fact that is like out there in the universe about her is that she's 9 years younger than him, which is like, you know, isn't that much when you're older. But I was like, the only two pieces of information about this woman is like her name literally says unknown, and then she's 9 years younger than him. And I was like, that is so odd that those are the only two pieces of information available.
I wonder if Korea is different, because I feel like in the US, like marriage licensing is like public domain, like public knowledge. Like you can look up who someone's married to.
Yeah, even like the CEOs of the biggest corporations and tech companies and everything, like in the US, I feel like that information is so easy to find, like their wife and their children and their, you know, like all this stuff. So
it is so different. I feel like in Korean culture, like for instance, Scooter Braun, his wife and kids would like attend events with him, and we know who they are, where I feel like it's more their personal lives and families are more private. Maybe and well, we know that to be true in the K-pop industry, but it seems like maybe with the CEOs, like we don't know that much information or never really see the wives or families, which is interesting.
Yeah. I wonder if she kind of wanted to stay under the radar for probably many reasons, probably just wants to have a chill life, but I did think that was interesting. It just says unknown. So as I said, he started JYP in 1997. His breakthrough as a producer came when he debuted the artist Rain, who immediately became famous in 2002. And then in 2004, he became the first Asian producer to cross into the US, producing music for Will Smith and several other artists.
Cool.
I know, kind of crazy. He's done some acting as well. He was in a show called Dream High, and then a movie called The $5 Million Man.
Very cool. He seems like a dramatic man, so that suits him.
Oh, you'll find this interesting. In 2021, JYP and Psy, K-pop artist and founder of P Nation, which is another company, they collaborated to form new boy groups on a competition show called Loud. So 2 groups were formed, one for P Nation and one for JYP. And JYP's group just debuted this year in January 2025. And can you guess who it is?
Under who?
JYP.
Kickflip?
Yes!
Oh! Yay, go Kickflip!
Yeah, we discovered Kickflip a couple months ago, and their music is so good. So, yeah, they're JYP's new boy group that came out of this competition.
Wait, we need to watch it.
I know, we should watch it, but it was interesting because Psy's group debuted in 2022. So, this JYP group, Kickflip, must have been training for so long.
I actually kind of like that. Debuting right after the show is chaotic. Like they don't even know each other. That seems like a lot.
JYP, as we mentioned, is a Christian, and he became a Christian after his divorce with his first wife. He was feeling very lost, and he said that he like turned to partying a lot and was trying to fill the void, and then was doing a lot of searching and investigating into a lot of different religions, and landed on Christianity as what he saw was the source of truth. And so now he leads weekly Bible studies, and they're on YouTube. You can see him preach. I get his little clips all the time. He wrote an autobiography called Live for What that tells his story. He has been talking about JYP 2.0, which is his mission to export K-pop into other languages and mix it with other cultures. And it's interesting because this is another point that I have for SM when I talk about them. They're trying to do something very similar. So I think all these K-pop groups are kind of entering to this next phase of like, okay, how do we take K-pop and export it and introduce it into new countries and like mix it with the local culture. So very interesting. JYP is kind of known for broadening the spectrum of K-pop because they house different kinds of groups beyond just like your typical K-pop group. So Day 6 and Extraordinary Heroes are more like rock focused, whereas I think a lot of these big 4 are solely pop. JYP has kind of a more of a mix of genres. So that's cool.
Very cool. I've seen stuff about Extraordinary Heroes touring in the US. I keep getting their ads.
Mm-hmm.
I
haven't listened to any of their stuff.
Maybe we can find a stop near us.
I know. I listened to some Day 6 because I'm a fan of The Rose, and upon my researching of The Rose, Day 6 came up because I think they're in a similar genre of music, kind of that alternative rock. But I don't know. I don't like their music as much as The Rose. But Day 6 is much more famous from what I've read, which is interesting because I love The Rose. Some fun facts about JYP. He puts a really big emphasis on the kinds of people that they bring into the company. So he wrote his autobiography, which I mentioned, but in that book, he said that one of the key elements for him deciding to pick an artist is if they're a genuine, pure person that he can love. And he says when he loves, I know, he says when he loves an artist, it's not work anymore. If you don't like that artist, you can't spend all night working with them. But if you truly love them, you can like have a really great working environment. So I thought that was really cool.
I do feel like he seems really sweet and maybe like the most genuine of all the CEOs we're going to talk about. Like, I actually believe that statement. And I can't picture him being like as cutthroat or like as far removed from the artist as maybe some of these other CEOs. So that's really sweet to hear. Yeah. And I mean, at least we love a lot of the people that are in JYP and think they have great personalities.
Yeah, he has to have a good sense of humor because I've seen so many videos of Stray Kids just straight up making fun of him and like just trolling him. And he must have like a great sense of humor and be able to laugh it off and have a really strong relationship with the Stray Kids boys for them to be able to do that, and him just be like, oh, boys, like, you're so silly.
Totally. And to like continue to perform and do these wild things after you know people are like saying things about them. So
true. Like, he knows people are absolutely roasting him on his performances, and he's still going, and good for him.
Yeah, and he really is like the most public facing CEO that we'll talk about today. Like, Hitman Bang is not getting on stage. He goes for it. I think he likes the attention, so it's fun for him.
Yeah. On our Would You Rather episode, we asked each other the question, would you rather spend a day with JYP or Hitman Bang? And then we posted that on our Instagram and asked people to respond in the poll, like, who would you rather hang out with? And so many people said JYP. And I think it's just because he like gives off that energy of just being so nice. Yeah, so that's JYP.
Love him.
Yeah, he's done a lot. I like the way that he runs his business, really caring about those artists and saying that he's not going to work with somebody if they're not an honest, nice person. So,
okay, well, I think the natural next CEO to talk about is Mr. Hitman, because he was mentioned many times in kind of JYP's story. So Hitman Bang, his name is Bang Si-hyuk, and he is the founder of what now is HYBE, but when he founded it was Big Hit. And he loved music from an early age, I learned on his Wikipedia page, but was discouraged pursuing a career in it by his parents. His parents were both really well educated and had impressive jobs, so I think they didn't see, a lot of potential in the creative field. He formed a band with his friends in middle school and wrote and performed songs. So I think that's maybe when like his songwriting and producer mind started. He then attended Seoul National University, where he studied aesthetics, which I didn't know that was a major.
What is
Korea
that?
has some interesting majors, I will say. I don't know what that means. It didn't give any more info. We'll have to look that up, but that was what his degree was. And his parents wanted him to study law.
That actually is an interesting point, because I feel like I've heard of people in Korea going to university and majoring in like modeling.
Yep. If you go to Idol's Wikipedia page, they all have degrees from Cyber University or something of the sort in modeling or just like obscure musical terms. It's very weird.
Yeah, we need to do some kind of segment on like the whole cyber university.
Yes.
Because so many of them have like degrees from this cyber university, and we're like, what is that? What are you studying?
Jungkook is not logging on and doing online assignments. He's not. Like, I'm so sorry. Is it an honorary degree? Like, that's cool. Just tell me.
Yeah,
funny.
We need to figure out what that is.
And I do want to know what an aesthetics degree is, and I kind of wanted to have one.
Yeah. Is it just like vibes? Like knowing what looks good?
I don't know. Maybe it's like company culture as well. Could be like an aesthetic. I don't really know. But he has a degree nonetheless. So way to go. And it said he debuted as a composer while in college, which I don't exactly know what that means. Maybe like his first song was like actually produced and released. And in 1994, he won the Yo Hey Ha music contest and began his career in earnest, writing and producing songs. So that kind of launched him.
So he was never a singer. Like he was never a performer.
No, from what I'm understanding, He was not. He was always kind of back end of things. So as you mentioned, he met Park Jin-young, JYP, in 1997. They became a songwriting duo. And then when Park founded JYP Entertainment, Bong joined the company as a composer, arranger, and producer. So worked there for several years. And one of their early successes was the first generation K-pop group God. God. I don't really know how to say that. There's a period between each letter. And from his popular songs and work with that group is how he got the stage name Hitman, because he's making a lot of hits during that time. And that group became the country's best-selling and most popular band in the early 2000s. So that's when him, along with JYP, got the reputation as hit makers and became popular. And you mentioned these same people that were under JYP, but just to mention that Hitman Bang has also worked with Rain and Wonder Girls and 2AM and a lot of those groups that were at JYP at the time. Mm-hmm. And then in 2005, he left JYP and founded his own company, Big Hit Entertainment, where he continued to write, compose, and produce. And this is, out of the big music companies in Korea, this is the newest one. So was founded several years later than all of the other ones we'll talk about today. And I found it interesting that BTS didn't debut until 2013. And he founded it in 2005. So I think he had like a few artists that released a few songs between 2005 and 2013. But obviously BTS was the big group that he put a lot of energy and love into. Mm-hmm. And when this was going on, Big Hit was very small fish in the big music market dominated by JYP, SM, and YG, the other three that we're discussing today. So they were definitely the underdog. And like I said, a newer company as BTS launched in 2013 and we're now in 2025. He is famous for being strict with his artists. There's a quote I clip that says, "I don't normally raise my voice and speak harshly, but when I'm working with artists at the company, I speak more strongly than on television. I've shouted angrily, 'And you call yourself a singer?' to every singer I've worked with." So
that doesn't surprise me.
No.
I watched the documentary on Cat's Eye, and he was actually in it a few times, not a lot, but he was pretty savage.
On Island too.
Island too, yeah. So I believe that.
I feel like what he does is just doesn't sugarcoat his thoughts. Like he's just to the point.
Yeah.
Where I think other people like speak around the truth and he just is kind of upfront.
They try to like phrase it nicely or like end it with a positive or something.
Yeah, he tells it how he sees it, I think. But that being said, Bang also has created a very interesting culture in HYBE, which has given a lot of artists more freedom than in other companies. This particular article I was reading said that Bang never set curfews or confiscated phones, allowing trainees to succeed or fail on the strength of their own talent and drive. There's a quote that he said, "We tell them, do whatever you want, but get out if there's no development." So I feel like he kind of puts it on the artist. Like, if you want this, if you want to get better, if you want to be successful, you can do it. We're giving you the tools. If you choose not to, that is on you. Another thing he is credited for, and just the company in general, is really industrializing fandoms. When BTS debuted, there was a heavy influence on social content. They always had their own, they were able to post on the Weverse accounts. There was, it was saying in this article, when V became legal age to drink, there was like these infamous, hilarious tweets, or I don't know what platform it was on, that he was posting like his first time legally drinking. So from the beginning, fans felt really connected with them because they did a ton of YouTube content, a ton of social content, and let them have more personalities. Whereas previously, when people debuted, all you got was the exact image they presented on the music shows or variety shows. So this kind of transformed into the digital age. And nowadays, we know that all K-pop groups heavily rely on social media and behind the scenes content and YouTube content. So that was kind of something that Hitman started from the beginning.
So interesting.
Yeah.
He really pioneered that, because I feel like that's the blueprint now for most groups. Like, they put such an emphasis on that personal connection with the idols and the fans.
He is now one of the wealthiest people in South Korea. And he is the only billionaire in South Korea in the entertainment industry. So he has become mega successful. And you know what's crazy to me is under Big Hit, his direct company is only BTS and TXT. Those are the only two directly owned by him. And so Big Hit was the company from 2005 to 2021. And then it became HYBE Corporation, and they acquired a lot of other music labels and have a lot of other businesses and do a lot of things now. But I just find that so interesting that only two are really under like his company that he fully oversees.
Insane what he has been able to do since making it HYBE.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just in the last couple years.
Just in the last couple years. Like, there's so many artists under HYBE now, whether through acquisition or creation under like some of the sub-labels like NHYPEN. There's so many artists. And to think this whole company family of HYBE has happened in the last several years is crazy.
No, it's seriously wild. And shout out to BTS for making this man so famous. And I hope that they are getting a cut of this $1 billion because, like,
literally,
that's how the company is successful. And it's crazy to think about him becoming one of the richest men in Korea with really just BTS until TXT debuted in 2019 and he started acquiring people. Like, he became famous and wealthy really just based on the success of BTS, which is insane. Crazy to think about.
HYBE is what it is today because of BTS.
Yeah, because they really were the only thing of the company. Like, it's wild.
That's crazy.
So I'll mention the other labels and groups under them. There might be more than this, but this is just what I brought over from the internet. So the label Source Music is under HYBE, which has LE SSERAFIM and G-Friend, which I don't know if I'm familiar with them. And then Pledis Entertainment is home to 17, Newest, and Fromis 9. Again, don't know if I'm saying all of those correctly. I'm so sorry.
And TWS, I think.
And yes. Wait, hold up. So glad you brought that up, because I was looking at that and I found out that it's pronounced TUS.
What?
It's not TWS. We've been saying TWS this whole time. It means to us. Like, that's what the team name means, and it's pronounced to us.
To us.
Yeah.
I like TWS better.
So learning and growing, it's to us. Yes. And then KOZ Entertainment, which is the one Zico helped start. Zico's on that, and then Boy Next Door is also on that. And then Adore was home to New Jeans, but I'm not sure legally what the status of that all is right now. But they were previously in the HYBE family as well. So I think that's all I had to say about Hitman.
Do you know if he is still the CEO? Because for JYP and SM, both of the guys who started it are no longer the CEOs.
No, Hitman is not the CEO anymore. He stepped down in 2021, and he is now the chairman of the board of directors. And I feel like that's common when these people get so famous and big. I feel like they just need to step down before something crazy happens.
Yeah, like JYP isn't the CEO anymore, but he's still very involved.
Yeah.
I think it's less pressure probably for them. They get to do like what they actually want to do versus just having to sit in meetings all day and like just say yes or no.
Yeah, totally. Oh, I also wanted to mention that I don't remember what year it was. Maybe around 2021 too. He acquired Ithaca, which is Scooter Braun's label.
Oh, yeah.
Which housed Justin Bieber, which I actually know there's drama now. Justin Bieber left Scooter Braun. I'm not exactly sure on the details of that. But Hitman did acquire that. So I don't really know exactly what that means logistically, but he did acquire a huge, obviously, company that had a lot of huge Western artists on it as well.
Interesting. I know. I did know that, and I've kind of been curious if there's been a plan in the works for some kind of collab or group forming with the American company and the Korean company or any of the artists collabing, but I haven't seen anything.
I don't know about the business dealings.
Fascinating. Speaking of business dealings, I am going to explain something that happened with a guy who started SM, and I'll probably sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, and that's because I don't. And it sounds complicated. There's some stuff going on with stocks and company ownership, and I don't get it. But
above our level,
to explain it to the best of my abilities. So to get into SM, it was founded by a man named Lee Soo-man in 1995. It was technically founded as SM Studio in 1989, but then it became SM as we know it in 1995. It originally stood for his name, Soo-man, but now stands for Star Museum.
Okay, so he was like, actually, I won't make it be my name. 3 out of the 4 we're talking about today just named it after themselves.
Yeah.
Love it.
Do you know what HYBE means or stood for? Or
no.
Just... Okay.
But I don't think it's his name.
No, I don't think so either. And Big Hit wasn't either.
Yeah.
So he named it after himself, but then rebranded as Star Museum, which...
Cool.
Don't love that. He has been referred to as the, quote, president of culture, as one of the pioneers of the Korean wave.
Okay.
Yeah, he kind of did a lot.
Is that self-proclaimed or like generally that's accepted?
Know.
Is that like generally accepted that he is this, or just kind of something he pushes out?
That was in an article that I read. Probably paid for by himself. I don't know.
Self-funded.
He debuted as a singer in 1971 while studying at Seoul National University. And while he was doing music at university, he worked as a radio DJ and TV host.
Oh.
In the early 1980s, he left his budding career in entertainment and decided he wanted to pursue a career in computer engineering. So he went to the...
This is making sense for NCT now, kind of.
Oh my gosh, it totally does.
Yeah, Geek Squad.
I've never put that together.
Yeah.
Neoculture technology.
Yeah.
He went abroad to study in the U.S. at Cal State Northridge, where he got to witness the rise of lots of superstars at the time. So like Michael Jackson, and seeing the heyday of American pop. And he was inspired by his time in California and seeing all of these pop stars rise to fame, and decided that he wanted to do the same thing in Korea. So he moved back to Korea with a vision of what he wanted the Korean music industry to become. And in 1989, he founded SM Studio, which, as I mentioned, would later become SM Entertainment. Some artists under SM are EXO, SHINee, Red Velvet, NCT, aespa, Rise, Lucas, Super Junior, Girls' Generation, BOA, TVXQ, Hearts to Hearts, Kangta, Navis. Yeah, lots of groups.
Yeah, there really is a lot.
Some of the most iconic ones from before our time. We are relatively new K-pop fans, so we don't really know too much about the iconic groups, SHINee, Super Junior, Girls' Generation, EXO. We do know and love NCT, but we acknowledge that some of those older groups are very important for K-pop and kind of laid the groundwork for a lot of the groups we love. I think a lot of members of 17 have mentioned that they are huge fans of some of those groups.
Yeah, I think idols of like our age loved Girls' Generation. I feel like that is always talked about, and they're always singing their songs and like doing their dances and stuff.
Are you talking about Seungkwan?
Yeah, well, he I think is number one fan, but I think in general a lot of them love them as well. And I actually really love EXO. I can't say that I know a ton about them.
Yeah, I know like a few songs, but I don't know really the members or.
And to be honest, I
anything
kind
else.
of with SM, I just don't think about them that much, or I kind of forget who is under them. Like I know a lot of these groups and like a lot of the songs from these groups, but I just never think of them as a unit company, which is kind of the opposite of HYBE, where I'm like very familiar with all the groups. I love seeing them interact with each other. Like I watched the game Caterers where they combined all the groups, so I'm just more versed with like the culture and all of the groups and when they debuted in HYBE. So with SM, it's always interesting to hear like, oh, they're under SM too? That's so cool.
Yeah. I think they definitely were more in their prime earlier on in like the K-pop generations. They had so many iconic older groups, but I think now it's like when you think of, okay, who are their groups that are thriving right now? It's like NCT, and I know Rise is gaining popularity, but I think whereas you think of HYBE, there's so many that are just like popping off, like so famous.
That's interesting you say that too, because I was thinking when you were talking about the CEO and his college experience, etc., that he is older. He's like 20 years older than these other CEOs we're talking about, because he was, I think you said he was in college in the 70s and they were like in college in the 90s. So that maybe shows too, like,
yeah, he's quite a bit older.
Yeah, the company just kind of started earlier and had its prime earlier as well.
Yeah, so I'll be interested if they're able to kind of keep up with some of the other ones that are putting out these really popular groups and debuting people all the time. Very interesting. I read that he has a 3-stage approach to the Hallyu wave, aka making Korean culture popular. First, exporting K-pop. Second, collaborating with local markets worldwide. And third, launching K-pop acts tailored to those markets.
Oh.
And yeah, so it says the approach, widely adopted by major K-pop agencies, has led to the rise of groups composed entirely of or consisting of many foreign members.
I love it. I think he's smart in that regard.
Yeah. So I think he kind of might have been the driving force of like, let's get some people from other countries, let's bring them in, get the fan bases from different countries involved, and very smart of him. He stepped down as CEO in 2023, so relatively recently, and as we said, he was older, so he was there a long time. Some other things that SM is known for, they are credited with being one of the first companies to popularize the whole idol system in terms of how rigorous the training is and like the carefully crafted image and kind of how we know it today in terms of how intense like the training period is and how they go through all of these, classes about how to behave in media and how to look and expressions. Like, I think he kind of pioneered that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
They implemented a structured training program for singing, dancing, and performance, which kind of became the model for other agencies. And then SM's also known for pushing boundaries with their video and performances and doing innovative concepts. So I can't speak for other artists, but that is something I noticed when I was getting into NCT. I was like, oh, they have cool concepts that nobody else is doing. So I think they really put an emphasis on that kind of being unique and doing something that hasn't been done before. This is where the tea gets piping hot.
Okay.
So, as I mentioned, he left in 2023, not really on his own accord.
Oof.
So, just got to backtrack for a little bit. In 1997, he founded a music production company called Like Planning, which I think is separate of SM. In 2010, he resigned from his position as a member of SM's board of directors, but continued to have a role in management and artist development. And he continued to exert a lot of influence over SM through Like Planning. So he continued to be the biggest shareholder of the company, controlling pretty much all of their management rights. And then in 2019, one of SM's larger shareholders sent a letter to the company complaining that Like Planning, Lee's, company that he owned, was taking 46% of SM's operating profit every year.
So he was basically like embezzling money through this other company.
Yes.
Of his. Okay.
Yes. So they demanded that there would be a merger between Like Planning and SM, which the company rejected. And then in 2022, SM announced that they were going to terminate the production contract with his Like Planning company by the end of the year. In 2023, SM said that they were going to restructure the company without Lee, adopting a multi-production center system to replace him. And then Kakao Entertainment, which is one of the biggest companies in Korea. They have like Kakao Talk, which is a major social networking app, as well as many, many other companies.
Yeah. Because it's like the delivery app. It's like the WhatsApp
it's like
of Korea. Yeah. Like think Amazon level.
Yeah. So they purchased a 9.05% stake in SM, making them the second largest shareholder. Lee, who objected to this, filed an injunction against them with the issuance of new shares and bonds, which was upheld by the court. And then he sold his stake in SM to HYBE, making HYBE the biggest shareholder.
Whoa.
I know. And then HYBE announced their intention to acquire SM with Lee's support, which sparked a battle for SM's management rights, which basically put Lee and HYBE against SM executives and Kakao. And then, this is where it gets spicy. Lee Sung-soo, who was SM's co-CEO at the time, and Lee's nephew by marriage, not his birth nephew.
Okay.
Uploaded a video on YouTube basically like laying out all of these accusations against Lee, aka his uncle.
Oh my God.
In the video, he talked about how Lee had formed a company in Hong Kong in 2019 to evade taxes, through which he was taking 6% of earnings from artists' activities overseas. He also said that Lee wanted to force artists to publicly declare his importance to the company and attempted to insert environmental references into songs to promote his business interests. It's wild.
I mean, I think this is a great example of when a visionary creative person tries to get into business and gets greedy and just is doing too much. You know, like I do think some of his ideas were good, You know, maybe he started with a pure mindset, but things got out of hand and he needed to be checked. Out of hand. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, HYBE didn't have the funds to outbid Kakao and to take them on. So they withdrew from this takeover battle, allowing Kakao to become the largest shareholder and maintain all the management rights.
So HYBE still has like part ownership, though?
They do. Yeah, okay. They do have, they're a minority shareholder. So I think they get some say in some things, but they are not a majority.
I'm so glad that they didn't take it over. Like, that's a monopoly at that point. Like, I'm glad they're separate entities.
That would have been wild if they had taken them over.
That's too much in one company.
I know. I think it would take away from the groups that are under HYBE. Like, they wouldn't get as much attention or money.
Yeah. And the SM groups deserve their own world as well. And I'm assuming this was a very stressful time for all of them when all of this was going down. Because, like, if the company goes down, what are they going to do? Like, it's a whole infrastructure that supports these groups.
Kind of crazy. So the final agreement said that Lee could not engage in production activities within South Korea for 3 years. So he's prohibited from hiring SM Entertainment employees and signing contracts with SM Entertainment artists, and can't really engage within the industry for 3 years, essentially. But that being said...
Is that why he made a Chinese group?
Yes. You know about that?
No, I just assumed, like, he has a lot of international groups, so he wants to, like...
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay, so after leaving SM, he created a new entertainment company called A2O Entertainment, and it aims to nurture talent and potentially expand beyond K-pop with a focus on a globalized approach to music production. And they debuted their first group called A2O May, which is a Chinese girl group, in December of 2024. Okay. So they're being promoted in China. They have some Chinese songs, and then they also have English versions of those songs. I did listen to them on Spotify. Again, not a big fan myself.
Not for us, but they are for someone else.
Yeah, they're not for me, but if you want to stand A2O May, you go right ahead. Also, A2O Entertainment signed an artist called Sunny, which is a girl from Girls' Generation who is his niece.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So 2 artists right now, this new group and then Sunny from Girls' Generation, who is this guy's niece. So
can I share my opinion on this hot take? Bro needs to just chill out and take a vacation. You do not need to be doing all of this. Like, why start another company after all of this? Like, you're an older gentleman. Like, just go live in Jeju or something. Like, you do not need to be doing all of this. Like, please. Like, just stop.
Wait. Just wait till you hear what he's doing now.
No.
He is pioneering what he calls Zalfa Pop.
Sounds like something from Xenon.
I know. A new genre fusing music, technology, and sustainability that appeals to Gen Z and Gen Alpha.
He loves technology. Neoculture technology. Zalfa. No,
Zalfa
he
Pop.
needs to retire. Like, he did so much for the industry. Much love to him. But, like, he can stop now. He really can stop.
Yeah, we don't need Zalfa Pop.
He's doing too much.
A few other fun facts about him. Well, maybe not fun.
Just facts.
Yeah, just facts. He also established a company called Blooming Grace, which I really couldn't figure out what they do. All it said was they focus on the fusion of culture and technology. He loves technology.
Obsessed with technology.
Okay, some other controversies. In 2002, the Supreme Prosecutor's Office of the Republic of Korea found evidence that he was earning tens of billions worth of illegal market profits in 1999. And they also investigated him regarding circumstantial evidence of lobbying to producers and broadcasting stations and keeping a tremendous amount of cash in his personal office. So he tried to escape prosecution by going overseas in 2002, but was found on a golf course in LA. And then when he was on the run, his passport was nullified and he was chased by Interpol.
Awesome! He sounds so great. Love him.
He eventually came back to Korea and was investigated and then was placed under arrest. But then he posted bail after paying 30 million won. and was later prosecuted without detention and was sentenced to 2 years of imprisonment with 3 years of probation, but then was released with a special exemption in 2007. So basically, nothing happened to him.
He is doing too much. That is...
Yeah, I know.
Did it say anything about what idols under the company think about him, or like any relation between him and the groups?
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because another fact is that SM used to have 13-year contracts for their artists.
Whoa.
And there was a group called TVXQ, which I think was pretty popular back in the day. They took SM to court, claiming that the 13-year contract was too long and restrictive, and that they got almost no profits from their contract. So they went to court and they were successful, and the Korean Fair Trade Commission created a rule that limited entertainment contracts to 7 years, like across the board.
Well, I mean, to be locked into a bad contract for 13 years is insane.
No, it's literally insane. And they called it the slave contract because they're like, we literally cannot leave. We are stuck
and
here.
if like the percentage that they're getting and that type of stuff is off, that is crazy. Wow.
I know. And knowing this about him, like everything that he did, it's like, I wasn't able to find details, but I'm sure that the artists were not making hardly any money. I feel like he was taking all of it. So I don't think he was seen as like a loving figure like JYP. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Like, also the fact that all of that, what I just said, the 2002 embezzling fraud, going abroad, getting arrested by Interpol, that all happened, and then he just came back and was like like working at SM. Like, just came back and was like, nothing happened. Like,
hey, I'm actually been horrible this whole time, but I am going to be back. Just got arrested in LA and extradited to Korea, but happy to be here in the office again, guys. Happy Monday. Yeah, that's wild. Okay, well, I hope the company is doing well now and everything is going better. What I will say is it seems like, at least with NCT, they support a lot of them doing solo stuff, which I love. It doesn't always happen. I feel like a lot of them are able to do a lot of like passion projects, which is cool. I like to see. But yeah, I don't know all of the interworkings and all of this drama and what the company's been through. That's kind of wild.
To wrap things up, I found out that a movie about him was literally just released last week, and it's called Lee Soo-man, King of K-Pop.
Self-produced?
I don't know, probably. Released on May 13th, and it's about his life. And I need to do some research on if it was produced by him or like an objective outside third-party observer that can actually tell the truth. But either way, I think we should watch it together.
100%.
When you come. Lindsay is coming to visit me in a couple weeks, and so we're going to watch this and report back.
Yay. I can't wait.
Yeah.
The title is making me think it's by him because it's like kind of in a positive light, but maybe that's just the title. We'll have to find the trailer and see kind of the tone of it, because documentaries are usually either one way or the other, you know? How interesting. Yeah, I would love to learn more about this man. He seems like quite a character.
He looks like a sweet old man, though. When you look at him, you're like, oh, I would never suspect this person to be guilty of embezzlement. He just looks
stealing
so
from everyone. I want to see footage of him getting arrested in the golf course. All right, let me pull up my notes on YG, who will be our last company highlighted today. Again, I did not know much about YG. I'm going to be honest. And I still don't know if I know that much.
I only know Blackpink.
Yeah, I'll start by saying who's under YG just to give, kind of some foundation here. Blackpink is definitely their biggest one. They also have Treasure, who I've talked about loving before. Baby Monster, who I think is getting popular right now. Winner, 2NE1. And I'm sure that's not how you say it, but
I think it's like 21.
Oh. Mm-hmm. That would make sense. They also have a bunch of soloists: Minho, Jinu, Kang Song Yoon. I don't know. There's a list of people. I'm not familiar with all of them, to be honest. But YG was named after the founder as well. His name is Young Hun Suk. He's around the same age as Hitman and JYP, more similar in age to them. And he's married with 2 kids. Just a fun fact to shout out. Yeah. He was a musician. He was part of the first generation K-pop group So Taji and Boys. He was one of the boys. He was not the guy that had his name in the title. And Young, the founder of YG, first met So when the musician learned how to dance, and Young was a dancer, so they became friends, and I think like helped this man learn how to dance. Young was part of the dance crew called Spark, which is considered the first Korean breaking dance group. So,
cool.
Kind of on the dancer side of things. And so those 2 became friends, and then along with one other guy became a group. And I don't know to what success they had, but that was his kind of background in the music industry. And he founded YG in March 1996. And the first album release was his own. So I think he maybe started it to release his own music. That was his initial focus. And the company only had small success until they formed its first idol group, which was Big Bang. And that was in 2006.
Wow.
Another iconic group that all idols our age fangirl over and are obsessed with. Mm-hmm. So that was their big breakthrough. In 2006, like that's a long time ago. We were 10.
That is a long time ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then another huge international recognition for YG was in 2012 with Psy's Gangnam Style. So I believe Psy has his own label now, but apparently at this time he was under YG.
Okay.
YG label is known for the hip hop influences, which I think makes sense with the groups that we do know from there. It's a very different particular vibe. You were saying, JYP has rock influences with some groups. YG is definitely very hip hop based, and is considered like the edgy misfits, socially unaccepted, this source said. So a little bit more edgy street. A lot of rappers on the label. He has also been in some controversies. And one source I read said he is like a cockroach and people do not like him.
Oh no.
So I actually don't know much about this scandal. Maybe we should do an episode. Well, this is kind of a negative episode to have, but like talk about the huge scandals in the world of K-pop, because like I just like don't know about these. But there was one called the Burning Sun scandal, where a lot of people apparently were exposed. And after that, he announced plans to step down. And his brother, who also was high up at the company, resigned as the CEO. And this was in 2019. But in most, rich businessman stories, he stepped down, but like he calls himself the head producer, and I think is like still running the company, It seems like it was a for show kind of demotion of sorts. Like I think he's still pretty involved in the company. And from what I was seeing, I think the general public does not love him that much. He also married a younger woman, and people do not love the story. He like scouted her, and she was an artist under the company. and she was underage when they met.
Oh,
and he brought her into the company. I think she was like, I think when they started dating, she was like 20 and he was like 31 or something. So I don't know all the details of that story, but it doesn't look the best just from face value that like he met her when she was 15 and like, scouted her for the company. So that's cool as well. I do feel like this seems like it is one of the biggest companies in K-pop, but I feel like it seems smaller than the other ones we just talked about in terms of the amount of artists they have, and just even the information I found just seems like more low key to me. And I mean, they have Blackpink, so I feel like that's kind of like HYBE with BTS. That really carries them. But I do know that all the Blackpink girls, now that they're releasing solo music, they all signed to different labels for that. Like, I don't think any of them are under YG for their solo careers.
So interesting. I feel like I learned so much today.
Me as well. It's interesting to compare and contrast. I feel like all of these companies have very different cultures to them. And it's very clear to see the aesthetics and vibes of each one. And it kind of feels like Harry Potter houses.
Yeah, kind of.
I feel like I'd be in HYBE. Like, I'm a HYBE girl.
You would. You're a HYBE girl through and through.
Like, they're Gryffindor, right? Or is that just my bias?
Like, that's your bias, 100%. Wait, we should try to classify them.
I feel like YG is like Slytherin.
Yeah, I can see that. Like what you said with the more alternative, like
like
mystic,
rappy. Yeah, I guess that's why.
Yeah.
I mean, SM seems Slytherin with kind of the founder.
Yeah. SM could be Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
And then JYP is Hufflepuff with his little happy, nice people vibe.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, because Ravenclaw is like such genuine, great people in that company. At least like the idols
and like really
love.
smart.
Yeah, really smart, like innovative. Yeah, then Hufflepuff is just like super solid. They're looking for good personalities, super nice. And then HYBE is just kind of, the best of the best.
HYBE's just like well-rounded. I feel like Gryffindors are like smart and brave and cool, just kind of like well-rounded. And HYBE's kind of artists are all kind of like that, I feel like. So I can see it. I'm a Hufflepuff, so I guess that means I'm a JYP.
Yeah, you can be a member of Stray Kids. Makes sense. I want people to tell us what they think about that. We'll have to post that on social media. Come comment and tell us what house you think each of these companies is. I think that's very interesting. Anyways, hope you learned something today about these companies. I know I sure did. My ending meant is just that I hope all of these people under these companies are happy and taken care of, and I hope there's less corruption moving forward in terms of contracts and treatment of trainees and idols, and I hope that the tragic stories kind of decrease now that there's more awareness to how the industry works. And I mean, I give them their flowers for making these amazing companies and, producing these amazing groups, but it's not worth it at the expense of people's lives. So, please, let's just be nice. Can I have world peace? That's my wish.
I know. I do think like SM pioneered so much of K-pop, but when I was reading about it, I was like, oh, this is, I feel like, when the toxic training schedules and mistreatment and all this probably originated. So to your point, I really hope that the K-pop industry is moving past that and people are treated well and have good contracts, know their rights, and the K-pop industry as a whole can become, more wholesome. I hope everyone's taken care of. Everyone feels safe. I feel like this episode was so much more information heavy than we normally do. So I hope that our listeners liked it. Let us know, like in our comment section or on the podcast, comment if you want more of these or if you prefer more of our yappy, random, nonsensical episodes as well.
It's fun to mix them in. I feel like we've been super chit-chatty recently. So
Yeah.
now it's time to expand our knowledge, for an hour, which was awesome. But yeah, we would love feedback. Let us know what you think. And while you're doing that, please like, subscribe, and stay by our side forever and ever. #1 podcast in the world.
And don't forget to fangirl responsibly.